Hello, my friends. Welcome back to our channel. Today, we actually have something a little bit different. I'm actually creating a collaborative video with Jenna Brown of Thrive Online, and I'm so excited for this conversation today where we are going to dive deep into ClickUp versus Asana from the pros. So welcome, Jenna. Thank you so much for coming to my channel and doing this recording with me.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So, okay, before we dive in, let's talk a little bit about what this video is about, and then we'll go ahead, introduce ourselves, and then dive into the good stuff. So in this video today, we want to have a productive, no pun intended, conversation about ClickUp versus Asana and help you guys make the right decision, which tool is the best for your business. We know there are a lot of biased opinions out there, so we really wanted to come together in this video and educate you guys on both of the platforms. Now, disclaimer before we dive in, there is a lot of overlap between these tools because they are both project management tools. They both solve the same solution. So it's not to say which tool is better, which tool does more. It's really to give you guys an idea of how these tools function. We're going to show a lot of visuals today and examples. And then we also want to highlight which tools do different things. So again, there's going to be overlap. Have no fear. We are going to go through all the things. So with that, I'm going to give you guys a brief introduction to me. If you are not new to my channel, you already know who I am, but just a little bit about my background, and then we're going to hear from Jenna. So Kristi DaSilva from Silva Life. I am a verified ClickUp consultant. I love chatting about all things systems, operations, business softwares. We help all different industries with setting up their systems and their ClickUp, but we really love working with agencies and teams. Our ultimate goal at DL is to help companies be able to save time to be able to scale their business with ease. So that is who I am and who we work with. Jenna, would love for you to introduce yourself to the community.
Hello, I'm Jenna. I run Thrive Online Consulting, Inc. I'm an Asana services partner and OBM systems strategist. I've been in the online space for the last 5 years, and I am so obsessed and passionate with helping small teams and solopreneurs find more efficient ways to run and manage their businesses so that they can be sustainable, they can have that growth, and they can build the lifestyle businesses of their dreams.
Love it. Well, I'm so excited. We're obviously passionate about the same things, which is why we love partnering with these tools. So let's dive in. So the first part of this video, we're going to go over an overview of ClickUp and Asana before we dive into the details and hardcore examples. So I first want to address, why is a project management tool important for your business and who it's for? So project management tools are for everyone. Let's just say that right there, clear the air. You don't need to be in a specific industry or niche to benefit from a PM tool. And in the most basic form, it's basically like a digital to-do list. But the important thing is that it not only keeps your projects and your tasks on track, but it is a crucial tool to be able to scale your business, reach your goals, and build a team if that's in the cards for you. So I actually want to talk a little bit more about our backgrounds and why we chose this tool, why I chose ClickUp, why Jenna chose Asana, and then what services we offered back then versus now. Okay, so if you guys don't know my background, I actually started as a virtual assistant 4 years ago. I was fresh to the online business world. It happened during COVID, flipped my life upside down, and I'm so grateful that I found this amazing community of people and dove into this because I truly believe this is what I was meant to do. So the truth is, I have never lived a day without a project management tool. I tried Trello and Asana before I decided to stick with ClickUp. And I personally just preferred the UX of ClickUp. It made sense for how my brain works. And that's the beauty of technology, is you can find something that works for you. So after some time as a VA, I actually fell into the role naturally of organizing my clients through ClickUp, and we actually work with another tool, Honeybook. And I actually loved it so much that I was like, I want to do this part of my job full time. And so that's when I decided to niche from virtual assisting and all different types of services to just doing Honeybook and ClickUp services. So that's where I started out and where I took this journey and how I ended up here. And Jenna, I would love to hear your journey as well of where you started and then how you got into systems.
Well, similar to you, Kristi, I also started out as a virtual assistant
Love it.
5 years ago. I think we're hitting the 5-year mark. It was prior to COVID. I was in project management, working with fitness-based businesses. But previous to that, I was an executive assistant. I found myself like really missing organizing other people's lives. And I fell into the online space and virtual assistants, and it just felt like the perfect fit. And before coming into this, I had used Asana only once with the nonprofit that I had worked for. And at the time, I like kind of basically just used it as a task list. I would put things in it, I'd mark it as complete, and I would move on. I didn't really understand and know how robust it could be and all of the different ways that it could benefit me and my clients. So when I came into the online space as a virtual assistant, a couple of my clients were using Asana. And that's when I really fell in love with the tool, just seeing all the different ways that we could use it to communicate with teams, onboard clients, and essentially scale their businesses. So that's when I first fell in love and wholeheartedly believe in the power of using a project management tool similar to you, Kristi. So after moving into more consulting and business management, where we are now, I spend my days supporting business owners with the reorganization of their systems and systems setups, such as Asana, so that they can feel confident delivering their products and services every day, knowing that their systems have their back.
I love that. I love that. And I think, touching on confidence and excitement, it's funny because I don't know if you can relate to this, but for me, obviously, we can tell that we've both always been super passionate about this, right? And obviously, like when we first started, there was a lot to learn and we had to like gain confidence. But it's so cool to work with clients. And in the beginning, I feel like they're so timid, they're overwhelmed, they're not confident. They're like, I just need help. And then as you start building out their systems, you see like their eyes widening. Like literally during a strategy session the other day, I was with a client and she was like, I need to cancel my whole day and work on ClickUp automations. She's like, this is so fun. And so it's so cool to see that transformation like before our eyes.
No, exactly. And it's just like and this is why we do what we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
We love that satisfaction of seeing people get excited about these tools that can make such a huge impact in their day-to-day and how efficient they can be and feeling good in their business. So
100%. Okay, so now is where we want to dive into the good stuff. We want to actually show you side by side ClickUp and Asana comparisons. Now, like I mentioned in the beginning, they do the same thing, but we want you to get the feel of these tools, why we love them, and what the pros and cons are of each of them. So we're going to share screen and we're going to dive. Okay, so here I am in ClickUp. This is our mock workspace of our templates. And so I just want to give you a feel of the platform as a whole if you've never been in ClickUp or you've just started like diving in and clicking around. So on the left side, you're going to see the navigation bar where you have these different spaces. Now, ignore simple ClickUp system and new fulfillment assets. All the ones underneath are the basic spaces that we recommend companies have. Now, if you're just starting out or you don't have a team or, your business is just different, this may look different. So take everything with a grain of salt. But basically, these are spaces. They're what you think of as the different departments in your business. So like operations, marketing, sales, clients, fulfillment, resources, etc. In the spaces, you then have folders, which are another level of organization. Under the folders, you then have lists, and then in the lists are where the tasks live. Now, something else that's different for ClickUp, and you can do this with Asana too, but I'd be interested to see how Jenna does this as well, is that you can use ClickUp for three main things: task management, project management, and data reporting. So the data reporting is when you think of databases. I'll get into that when we go through dashboards. So with ClickUp, you can now have task types. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds right now, but I just wanted to mention that, like, okay, in a list, it's either going to be tasks like request refund, put an out of office request, or it's going to be a data point, like here's our client database, here's our sales tracker, etc. And then you can also have folderless lists. So it doesn't have to be necessarily categorized in another folder, but you could see even in marketing and PR, we have a folder of marketing platforms and then a list for every single platform that has a different process. So again, don't get overwhelmed here. Just want to go through the basics of like spaces, folders, lists, and tasks. And now I will let Jenna show the Asana version.
So welcome to the Asana home base. Just like Kristi has hers set up as a demonstration organization, so do I. So again, yours might look different and it can vary in so many different ways of how you can set it up. But again, similar to ClickUp, we can organize our space with teams, projects, milestones, and tasks. So the home screen is what you'll see when you first come into Asana. You can customize this to have any kind of information that you're looking for. I personally just like to see a high level of my tasks. I've got a little notepad here and tasks that I've assigned to others because I work on a team. Next is the use of teams. And this is basically organizing together either groups of people or groups of functions. So one of the ways that I like to use it in Asana is I'm grouping together similar tasks. So I keep all of my clients and client projects under one team. I keep all of my main business hub type activities and projects under one team, all my marketing efforts under a team. And then I also put some personal stuff in here too, because I use Asana for everything. So again, we've got teams as our main organizational point. And then within that is where we have our projects, which host our tasks, just like we had within ClickUp.
So you would say, Jenna, that teams are kind of like the equivalent of ClickUp spaces.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah. Teams are equivalent to spaces. Projects are the same as our lists. So I'd say like ClickUp has that extra layer with the folders. Asana doesn't have that folder aspect.
Got it. Makes sense.
Yeah. And then within each project, this is where we have different sections to organize it and all of our individual tasks, which we'll go through in a little bit more depth, I think, in a little bit.
Awesome. So, Jenna, do you also use Asana for data reporting? Like, do you have databases with information, or would you say it's more like task-based?
I'd say for the most part, most people use Asana for task management specifically as a starting point, obviously. However, as you start to grow your team, we know how important making data-driven decisions are, and you can utilize Asana for that as well. And there's a few different ways that we can actually look at reporting within Asana and customize it to the type of data that you're actually looking for.
Okay, awesome. Love it. Okay, so now that we have dove into the general like UX and structure of ClickUp and Asana, now we want to talk about task management. So I'm going to go ahead and share task management in ClickUp, and then Jenna can show in Asana. Okay, so we're back in this Kristi's task list. And here you can see these are tasks, right? We also have statuses. So you can see if I go into edit statuses, we could have to do, in progress, and complete. I'm actually going to click into the simple ClickUp system to show you task management. This is actually a free template that we have where you can see the most simplified version of ClickUp, which is like a really great starting off point. So in here, you can see a basic checklist. In the statuses, these are just either to do or complete. So I could say, record video with Jenna, add a task, put this to me, put this to today, and then when this is done, I can go ahead and mark this as complete, and that's it. The other thing you could do is say you have a process or a checklist where you don't just want to have to do or complete, you want to know if something's in progress, if something's blocked, etc. Then you can have something like a status list. So to do, in progress, on hold, complete. So say you're working on YouTube SEO and then you finish this, you can move this to complete or other statuses. So let's actually click into the task for a second. Inside a task, there are so many different things that you can do, and I won't go into this in depth. We actually have a whole video on our YouTube channel about this as well. But in here, you can assign specific team members, add due dates, time estimates, track time. We'll get into that in a second. You can comment back and forth and communicate with your team members. There are a ton of different things that you can do inside this task: store data, add links, the whole 9 yards. So now I just wanted to give you this visual of what the task looks like inside. You can also add subtasks to this. And now I just want to quickly talk about, Jenna showed the home screen. And so I want to show you just 2 different ways that you can see your tasks in ClickUp. There are multiple different ways that you can, but when you set up all of the tasks in your workspace, you want to make sure that you don't feel like you have to click into every single place to be like, what do I have to do today? So ClickUp also has a home. This is also customizable by managing your cards. And you can see anything recent, the lineup, anything that's assigned to you, etc., anything that's coming up today. And the other thing that you can do is I personally love seeing my tasks in a calendar view. And so you can create a calendar on the everything level that the filter is that the assignee is you or a specific team member. If I come to month view, then you'll just be able to see everything in one place. You can also integrate your Google Calendar here so you could see your meetings. You could put this in week view and time block. I do this. It's intense, but it's how my brain works. So I hope that brings clarity to like what task management looks like. Creating a task and having just like a simple digital checklist, or making it a little bit more robust with statuses. And then a little bit later, we'll get into like workflows, what it looks like for like just task lists like this versus like a pipeline of ongoing projects and tasks. Okay, so with that, Jenna, you can take it away and we can talk Asana.
Okay, so the easiest way to view all of your tasks that are happening within your Asana organization comes into My Tasks. This automatically rolls everything up that is assigned to you, so you have it in one space. Now, within your task list, you can actually organize this by different sections. You can rename these and really structure your task list, whatever makes sense for you. I personally like to see all of my tasks in terms of what I have to do today, what's coming up tomorrow, within the next week, and anything beyond that, I just throw and do later because I don't really need to see that at the time. Because as we know, maybe you've experienced before, task lists can be really overwhelming when you just have this big list. So that's something that I really appreciate here, is just being able to customize it to how my brain works and what I actually want to see. And then we can minimize and clean stuff up and not have to look at anything that we don't need to look at right now. The other great thing is that you can view your task list in a few different ways, similar to how you can view projects in the rest of your Asana organization. So I personally like to look at it in list view, but I know lots of people that actually like to view their task list in a calendar. Similar to how Kristi just showed on ClickUp, you can do that automatically here in Asana as well. And we can change between the month and the week view too, to see those upcoming deadlines for our tasks that are assigned to us. There's also board view as well, but my preference is list. So when it actually comes to assigning tasks, if it's something that only needs to be assigned to you and no one else really needs visibility on it, you could add it to your task list right in here. However, I do recommend adding tasks directly into the associated projects within your space, because when you're working in teams, visibility is so important, and especially when it comes to pulling reporting like we talked about earlier and making data-driven decisions, we want to have that visibility. So when we're assigning tasks, I always recommend that you put the task in the associated project in which it should live. But when it comes to assigning a task, it doesn't matter where you are in the organization, you can click the Create button up here. And this is where you could actually create a new project. You could send a message to someone on your team, but what you'll mostly do is be creating tasks. So we'll just click on that so you can see what that looks like. If you do it from that function, it populates as its own little box over here. However, if you did it within the project itself, it does it like this. And record a video with Kristi. So when we open up that task, we can add our due dates, whoever it's assigned to. We can add it to multiple projects, so it actually lives within different homes. If you wanted to see something on a marketing calendar versus like a project planning calendar, we could add it so it exists in 2 different places. We can add our dependencies, and again, that could be its whole own video, so we won't dive that deep into it. But this is the basis of what your task actually looks like. And when it comes to inputting tasks, I always recommend putting as much detail as possible into the description. So it just makes it super easy for yourself or your team to take action on it and spend less time doing the finding and the clicking and more so of the actual doing.
Okay, so right off the bat, you can see the difference between the UX of the two. You can see that ClickUp is a little bit more robust. I feel like Asana is a little bit more simplified. Now, there are absolutely pros and cons to both, but you may have already gotten a feeling as we're going through these two of like, oh, I like how that one looks over the other. That is exactly what this video is intended for, is to really be able to make that clear decision for you. So now that we got into, the general UX, we want to go a little bit deeper into the functionalities when it comes to dashboards and views. Basically taking the information that is in your ClickUp or Asana and how to view it in a different way. Okay, so now we are getting into the world of dashboards and ClickUp. So if you see in my dashboards hub over here, you can create dashboards for just about anything. You can create it for team members, for today's task, for this week. You can do vision boards, client dashboards, so many different things. But I think the sales dashboard is such a great example of how you can visually view the data in ClickUp. So something that we didn't touch on was custom fields. So I'm going to quickly pop into the sales list where this is. And you can see that this is actually completely automated from Zapier to our payment processors. Obviously, this is a test version, but basically where this is a database, right? You can see the task type here is a sale. It's not considered a task. And you can see the gross payment, the net payment, the date this was created, and be able to see what the sales and offers were. Well, looking at this in a list form, right? You go into 2024 sales, it's not that helpful. It's helpful, yes, so you can see like, okay, who's buying what, and you can see sums at the bottom. But where the magic happens is when you bring it into a dashboard. Now you can take this data and make it visual. So you can see this month's gross sales, this nets, this year, all time, by platform, by month, by offer, you name it. So that's just one example of dashboards and data reporting. I also want to talk about views really quickly. So if I go into our project management template, this is where, okay, you can see here is this data. We are grouping the tasks by phases: project prep, planning, resourcing, execution, project wrap up. And then you can actually take this exact data, but view it in a different way. You can view it in a calendar. You can view it in a Gantt view. This is especially helpful if you're using dependencies. So then you could see if one task is moving forward, it's moving the whole project forward. And you can also see workload. So this is where, if you're utilizing time estimates, it's so powerful to be able to see how much capacity each team member has by what tasks are already assigned to them. Now, with these views, you can see there are so many different ones. I just wanted to touch on a few to show you the different types and the power of views. But there are so many different ways that you can use these. And not only can you use it on just that list level, but you can also add these views to the everything level, like I mentioned. So if you're looking at workload, for example, in this project, well, you can also add a workload to the everything level and then see workload by team member for every single thing under ClickUp. So that was just, again, touching on a few of the views. You can also use board view, of course, and you can see the other ones here. Table, board view is going to be like Trello. Table is going to be like Airtable. There are so many different options that you can use here, but I just wanted to show you a couple visuals to get an idea of the power of these views and, again, the UX and feel of ClickUp. All right, so now I would love for Jenna to show dashboards and views in Asana.
So similar to Kristi, I'm also going to show you guys an example of a sales pipeline project that we have. So any incoming deals for leads and sourcing, that's kind of what this project exists for. This is what a very basic dashboard can look like within Asana. It is very customizable, similar to that in ClickUp. So pulling the exact data that you want to see. So I always want to know like how many deals we actually have in our pipeline, what's the dollar amount that we're projecting for those deals, how many sales calls do we have, how many clients are we onboarding, that sort of thing. I'm wrapping it all up into this visual dashboard so that as the CEO, I can come in and easily see exactly where we're at before I hop on a meeting with my sales call team, for example. Okay, but then if we dive into the project, this is where we can see those other views. Again, similar to ClickUp, we've got our list view that is sorted by sections. So these sections in Asana are similar to statuses in ClickUp, basically the same thing. Okay, so we've got our different sections. The tasks live within those different sections. And we use customizable fields to add extra data to our tasks for visibility. And you can always change within these views what exactly you want to see. We can hide, we can add, we can roll up, we can add formulas. There's so many possibilities here, but at a basic view, this is what your list view could look like. That looks a little bit different than other projects that we're going to look at later. We've got board view, again, looks similar to Trello. Timeline view, which is similar to the Gantt view in ClickUp. So this gives us the ability to move deadlines, especially when it comes to having dependencies on tasks. If you move the main task, it'll move the dependencies automatically for us. So we're not having to manually go through and readjust timelines. So this can be a really great benefit to doing that and using dependencies. And then we've also got our calendar view. Again, I will note though, if you're using calendar view for anything, you need to make sure it actually has a date. If it doesn't have a date attached to it, it will not show on calendar view. And I think that's something a lot of people easily miss because you just don't know. So if you want to view something in calendar view, just make sure that it has a due date attached to it.
So actually, Jenna, you mentioned something really good that I want to touch on. You said, as the CEO, this is really helpful to see. And that's something that is so powerful within both tools. Whether you're the CEO and you're setting this up, or you're the COO or project manager and you want the COO to have insight, as your company grows and expands, and we see this a lot because we work a lot with more of the COO or project managers on the team, is that you want to set up ClickUp and Asana at different levels for different roles. You really want to set up your team for success, from the technician and the people doing the actual work, to the project managers, the COOs, the people that are managing the work, to the CEO who needs to have quick access to data and numbers and KPIs to see how the entire team and company is performing as a whole. So being able to take this data and bring it into views and dashboards to see it in an easy, digestible, and quick way is the beauty of these two tools. Okay, so now that you've seen some more visual examples, we want to do one more section where we're talking about a few of the other key features of each tools before we talk about real life case studies. So the things that I'm going to touch on ClickUp right now are team collaboration, time reporting, time tracking and resource management, automations, and integrations. All right, so let's dive in. Okay, so first let's go through the team collaboration aspect. So for example, if I come into the Instagram pipeline, now I want to show you this quick example. Remember how I said, you can have basic task management in a list? Well, this example is showing an actual pipeline. What do I mean by that? It's not a start to end project like the project management pipeline I showed you, and it's not just a singular task list. This is more a pipeline that things are always moving through. So you can think of it in terms of a sales pipeline, right? You always have new leads coming in. They need to be nurtured. They're like sold, and then you go through onboarding, implementation, completion. Or it could be Instagram, where a task is a piece of content and it's going through the pipeline. At first, you have to create it. Then it's in progress. Then if it's a reel, maybe you have to film it. Maybe it's a design element, it's a carousel, a graphic, and the designer's working on it. Then it needs to be reviewed. Does it need edits? Is it approved and ready to schedule? Is it scheduled? Is it published, right? So every single piece of content, this is actually what our Instagram calendar looks like, even though this is the sample one, where it's going through this pipeline. And then as it moves into in progress, ready to film, ready for review, that's where automations come in. So you can see here that when the status changes to needs edits, it's then going to reassign our designer, Nina, and then change the due date to 1 day after the trigger date. So this is where ClickUp is doing the heavy lifting for you, the actual project management, where when this is set up, you're really setting your team up for success because they know, okay, this is on my calendar. I have to review this. After I review it, it either needs edits or it's ready to schedule, and then it'll go to my assistant. The other thing that you can do is you can also comment to your team back and forth, right? So I could be like, @Jeff, can you review this? Now, this is going to go into his inbox where he's checking his notifications each day. He could easily click into this. You can also assign comments to people so you know that when they have taken care of it, they can mark it as resolved. So assigned comments are also a great way to collaborate with the team and make sure that things are getting taken care of. The other really cool thing about ClickUp in terms of like project management like this in the Instagram list is if you have actual images attached here, you can actually comment directly on that image and say, hey, can you change this to navy blue? Or here's a typo here, etc. And so it just really takes it to the next level with team collaboration. This is also something that's super important is, you're gonna have multiple different platforms, right? So we also use Slack at DaSilva Life. And so you're going to have multiple different communication platforms. It's super important to keep each one in their lane and make sure you're using them properly. So as we're communicating as a team, we are making sure that if it's about a specific task, like an Instagram post or a project that we're working on, we're commenting in that task directly and putting updates in that task. So they're not getting lost in Slack. But ClickUp does have a Slack integration where you can actually just copy this link and you can throw it in Slack and then it'll unfurl the task. You can also attach Slack comments to ClickUp tasks. You can do a bunch of different things there as well. But making sure that the lines are clear and things aren't getting lost in Slack, but they're staying threaded in ClickUp is key. Then let's talk about time tracking and reporting. So say, the team is working on this task. You can each track time in the task itself. You can also add time manually. Let's say I worked on this for 1 hour, and then you can see how long this task took total. This is ideal for project management and resource management because you know exactly how long everything is taking. And then this is actually a new feature, which is so amazing. I'm so happy they brought this, is timesheets. So in here, now you're going to be able to see how much time you tracked for each day. You'll also be able to see the all timesheets for the team as a whole. So I know I only touched on automations as well, but you can just see the power in simply that of it moving the process forward and reassigning team members. There's so much else you can do with automations, but we have other resources for you, like other videos on our channel where it can dive deeper. But I hope that example brings light to even the simplest of automations, how powerful they can be as they compound over time. And lastly, I want to talk about integrations with ClickUp. So if you go into the quick action menu, you can see the App Center and you can see all the different things that integrate with ClickUp. So you can absolutely check these out, but you can integrate your Google Calendar, your cloud storage, your Slack, Figma, there's a Chrome extension, different time trackers if you use those and you don't want to natively use ClickUps. So there are hundreds of apps that they integrate with and they all do different things. So the goal is actually to bring everything into one centralized location so that it makes a seamless collaboration between all of your different tools. Okay, so those were the last few things that I wanted to touch on in ClickUp. Now I'd love for Jenna to go through those same items in Asana, how they're different, how they're similar, and then we can wrap up.
Okay, so when it comes to communicating about tasks, similar to Kristi and ClickUp, that's how we want to keep it in Asana as well. So if it is something that is task related, we want to be specific and utilize the task itself to communicate about it, as opposed to taking it outside of Asana or putting it in some random place that can easily get lost. So I am in our social networking project where we schedule Instagram and TikTok content. So if I had a question about this upcoming piece of content, this is where I would also use the comments in order to ask my team member that would be responsible for that, or provide an update on where we're at, or provide any necessary information that we should know about as a team as we publish this piece of content. So I can go ahead and tag my team member and say, do you have any inspo for this post? And we'll go ahead and leave that comment. And then in doing so, this is a feature that I know ClickUp also has, but we have an inbox. So anytime that you are tagged in something, assigned something by somebody else, if something is completed that you assigned to somebody else, that's going to be sent to you as a notification. And in Asana, all notifications come to your inbox. So this is where you would come and see any notifications that are waiting for you. So this is like something that is super important, that every day when you come into your Asana project, we're looking at our notifications for inbox, because we want to use Asana for task communication specifically. But that's where these notifications will come, and we want to keep it clean, archive it so that we never miss anything. So if we're wanting to add specific automations similar to how you can do in ClickUp, we have a workflow function in Asana. So basically what we get to do here is we decide what the trigger is and what the action that is going to happen next will do. So when it's set to the section of in production, we want it to change the assignee to, we'll add it to me, and we'll publish that rule. And there we can see it happening there. And when we come back to our list, the rule exists right here with this little icon, and you can click in here and it'll show all the rules that you currently have set up between the different sections that you can easily click into and make edits to. So if you want to communicate about a specific project or a group of tasks with more than just one person, there's another way that you can actually do that within Asana itself instead of taking it outside. And that's the use of either team pages or project messages. So let's just say, again, we're in our content planning project. If you come over to messages here, essentially it kind of looks like Facebook a little bit, to be honest. You can make a little post as a message to your team, tagging everyone that is in this project. You could tag specific people, and then they can reply right here. So this would be for something more like generalized about maybe this project or upcoming projects or things like that you might want to utilize this for. If you maybe had a smaller team and didn't want to use a tool like an external tool like Slack or Teams or something like that. So then if you want to talk to a bigger group of people, say you utilize Teams as like your departments. Okay, so let's say the only people that are part of this team are those involved in my company's marketing. You can actually click on your team and do the same function of messaging here as well. So you click into messages, and then this will communicate across the broader team. Anyone that is associated with the marketing team, you could put those messages here for them. So again, when it comes to communication within Asana, we can go bigger picture with teams and communicating within team channels. You can communicate on project levels in the same way, or if it's specific to tasks, I recommend actually commenting on the task itself to provide updates and keep everyone in the loop. So then when it comes to integrations and app integrations within Asana, Asana actually naturally integrates with over 200 different platforms directly, which is super nice. I'm a big fan of Zapier, but when we can connect tools one-on-one, I think it's such a great way to go. A couple of the ones that I use most frequently, I'd say within Asana, are connecting to G Suite, specifically Google Drive, and to Slack. So I'm just going to quickly show you what that could look like. So this is an example client project. I've connected my Google Drive to this. So when you open up a task, you can actually directly link a document, PDF, whatever, from your Google Drive with this specific task. So if it didn't have it, it would look like this. You could click the button and it'll automatically pull up all of the documents that you have within Google Drive, or you could just click and paste the URL that goes directly to it. But it makes it super easy. So when you're needing to go back and forth, perhaps on a document, reference something, make edits to something, you can actually directly link it instead of copying and pasting a link in the task itself or going into your Google Drive, for example. We just click right into it, it opens it up for us, and we can make those edits. The other integration that I really love is that with Slack. So if you are using an external communication tool like Slack, it connects directly with Asana. So it makes it super easy when you're communicating on something to actually add a task right into Asana from Slack. So if I'm in here messaging with a coworker, we hit that slash bar, we can create a task. It pulls us up, we can input all the information, and it will draw it right over and into Asana for us. So that can make it nice if you're on a team meeting or again, you're chatting back and forth with your colleagues. You can take action on the communication happening right then and there instead of switching between tools, and you can trust that it's actually in your Asana account waiting for you.
Okay, so now that we have gone through and showed you a ton of different examples of the UX of ClickUp and Asana, what they both can do, why we love both of these tools, we want to both share a quick case study of how we have helped a client achieve growth and scale in their business by implementing these tools. So I'll go ahead and go first and talk about a marketing agency that we worked with. This marketing agency was literally running their whole company from Google Sheets and Slack. They knew that things were not really getting lost. Everything was getting done, but it was taking so much longer because they had a team of over 40. So the COO and the project managers were constantly having to cross-check all these different spreadsheets, and people kept constantly having to take data from one place and put it in another. So after implementing ClickUp, also integrating things like Make to bring this data from all their servers into ClickUp and create this seamless workflow, they now save undoubtedly at least 5+ hours a week, and certain roles even more than that. So you can see just that one example of how implementing a tool like ClickUp or Asana can save you so much time as you continue to grow and scale your company. Okay, so Jenna, would love to hear your client case study of how implementing Asana was able to help your client.
Yeah, similar to you, I had a client who was actually a brick and mortar business, a restaurant business. And the CEO was just feeling so flustered because he felt like things were all over the place and he couldn't really get a grasp or a high level view of all of the things that were happening in the back end of the business, but also what his staff and his team members were working on. So we implemented Asana for him and brought it into this one central place because things were here, there, and everywhere, organized it using teams for the different departments that he has, implemented dashboards so that he could see that high level view of exactly what was happening behind the scenes when it came to finances, when it came to his team's day-to-day workload, and also utilized forms here as well, which we didn't actually touch on in today's video because again, these two tools can do so much. But how we brought all of that and put it into one place so that he could feel that sense of calm to be able to manage his team and his day-to-day workflows effectively moving forward.
I love it. So awesome. Okay, so now that we've gone through those examples, we want to just give you some practical tips on how to get started and how to actually choose one of these tools. So first of all, if you have not already signed up for these tools, I absolutely recommend trying both of them out. See which ones make you feel more comfortable, knowing that if you need a little bit more of robust features, like more robust automations and functionalities, ClickUp could be a good fit. If you're technologically inclined, amazing, go for it. If you need more support, I can absolutely support you, either from the free resources on our channel or different templates. But when it comes to Asana, you can see that it's a little bit more simplified in getting started. Not a bad thing. Both tools have their pros and cons. They just look and feel different. So it depends on what your goals are and how each tool makes you feel. Okay, so Jenna, would love to hear your tips as well for people getting started with these tools.
Yeah, I'd say that something that can be really beneficial to anybody is using the opportunity for the free trials. So both of these tools give you the chance to use it for free, to test it out. They offer these free trials for you to get in there, start playing around, see how you like to use it, play with the different views. And what's important is to give yourself a good amount of time to actually try it out and make a decision. I'd say using it between 3 to 6 months to decide if the tool is a good fit for you is going to make such a difference and make it so much easier moving forward. Then you can be confident in your decision to move forward with the tool, set it up most effectively so that it can scale with you for years to come.
Love it. Love it. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and sign up for these tools, go ahead and make sure you use our links in the description as well. Then highly recommend downloading some templates, whether they are free or paid. You can always comment below as well and be like, I am going to try out both of these tools or one of these tools, and I'm looking for a template for XYZ. We are happy to send you some links your way. And then with that as well, take it step by step. Platforms and implementing new tools, especially project management tools, can be overwhelming at first. So don't feel like you have to get in and set it up in a day, a week, a weekend, whatever it is. Take it step by step and feel good about each step that you're taking before you take it to the next level. Okay, so if you have decided that you're going to go a certain route, whether it be ClickUp or Asana, or you are still trying to decide and you want just some more education, I will talk about the free and paid resources that I have. Then Jenna can talk about the resources she has. So we have an entire ClickUp course. We have ClickUp templates for sale. We have an entire ClickUp template vault that has all of our templates in it. And we also have our YouTube channel where we have free ClickUp tutorials and our social media that we talk about ClickUp on a weekly basis. So again, all of my links will be down below if you're ready to take that next step. And you can always message us if you are debating between what option you need. If you're debating the course or templates, we are happy to help you find the best fit. So Jenna, how can people get some tips and resources from you if they decide that Asana is the right fit for them?
So first and foremost, you can follow me on Instagram. That's where I connect most with my community and provide free resources. That's _Thrive Online. But I also do have a free resource for you in terms of getting started with Asana. So you can download that. The link will be below. Also have another free resource for you in terms of setting up rules within your task list in Asana, which can be super helpful. And I do have a Asana template bundle that is ready to go if you are wanting to dive into Asana and get the basics set up today.
Amazing. So we will make sure to drop all those links in the description if you decide Asana is the right fit for you. So with that, just recapping, reminder, both of these tools are amazing. They are both designed to do the same thing. So play around with them, decide which is right for you and your business. Don't forget to seek help if you want the setup process to be easier. That's what we are here for. And remember to commit to the process. It's not easy, so know that, but it is so worth it and it will totally pay off in the end. Thank you so much, Jenna, for joining me today and sharing your Asana knowledge and genius with us. We're so grateful for you. I feel like I learned so much about Asana as well, and now I have a great resource to be able to point different people to if they're debating between the two tools. So I had such a blast chatting with you, and thank you so much for joining me.
Me too. Thanks so much, Kristi. This has been awesome.
So thank you to DaSilva Life fam for sticking around here, watching this video, supporting our channel. Again, I will put all the links below where to find the info from me and Jenna. Do not forget to like this video, comment below if it was helpful for you. And if you want to see any other collaborations when it comes to tools, and make sure to subscribe to our channel if you want all of the productivity and tool tips and tricks. And I'll see you next time.